Hey, welcome to Captive Audience. I am filling in for Kevin. Kevin is busy tonight, and so I'm filling in. And yes, we need less government. And if you don't think so, you haven't lived long enough to realize just how much we have, or I don't know what. Hey, well, anyway, I'm Sunny Danforth, and if this is Captive Audience on Monday, September 16th. And just yesterday, former President Trump had another an attempt at an attempt on his life. And definitely somebody was there to make an attempt, Ryan Wesley Routh. And, this fellow, it's interesting that the media has scrubbed the social media. Social media has scrubbed his accounts. Why is that? Why is that? It's amazing that that happens so quickly, unless they don't want it to happen. You know, they're in charge, whether you think you are or not, over your own accounts. And so, and this guy apparently waited, maybe 12 hours before being confronted. And, the news is, oh, he never had line of sight of Trump. Well, no, Trump was playing the whole previously and was coming. That's why he was there. How did he know to be there? I don't know. I don't know. And there's a lot that we don't know. And I find in this the Epic Times article that I posted, that, they say he's from Hawaii, but he's got a hell of a rap sheet. I think it's in North Carolina. He's traveled all over. So is he really from Hawaii? Or they're just saying that? And he appeared in Florida court today, and they charged him with 2 federal gun crimes. He's a convicted felon. You're not supposed to have firearms of any kind. So that's easy to hold him with all of that. And thankfully, nothing happened. Thankfully, praise God for that. And a very, excuse me, observant, excuse me, Secret Service doing his job right. And so it's, this fella, Ryan, looking at some social media, apparently he was working as a mercenary as part of the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. Not only that, but apparently maybe he was a recruiter for the Ukrainian Foreign Legion while living in North Carolina, actively seeking recruits from the U.S. And, is this guy tied to any of our alphabet agencies? I haven't any idea. Could be, though. It could be, though. And it takes a deranged person to be, well, I won't say that. I was going to say it takes a deranged person to be willing to do something like that. Well, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't take a deranged person, but it takes somebody who, that's what they want to do. He was certainly not a Trump supporter, and they did scrub his social media. And why is that? They did it very, very quickly, his social media accounts. But, some very quick thinking people actually got a hold of his social media accounts. And so we're learning what the government won't tell you, certainly. And so, it just says, well, it's taken down. And the same thing happened with Thomas Matthew Crook. his social media accounts after he did shoot Trump and 3 other people in Butler with 1 fatality. And, so why? Why are they taking it down? Why the censorship of that? Well, he's dead, so we're going to remove it? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. And so, the big tech giants, they can just remove anything they want. As we all know, anybody who has just been censored or has been censored at all by any of them. And so I don't know. Does Trump have a mole on his campaign? I don't know. I don't know. But he's also a person who plays golf. It's easy to find out where he's going to be. Not that it's public, but he likes to play golf. And if he's in Florida, certainly he can get on his plane and go play somewhere. I don't know. And moving around Palm Beach or South Florida, it's, I don't know. How long has this guy been wanting to shoot him? Just waiting for him to come back? And, this is horrible. It's horrible what is happening. And the deep state, the left, want to remove him. Our best candidate ever, the best president we've ever had, and the leading presidential candidate right now, they want him gone. They want him gone because they don't want him in power. They don't want him cleaning up the government. They want status quo. And they'll take anybody, even Comrade Cackling Kamala. They'll take anybody in that role. And so, I just had to say something about all of this. This is the biggest news with what's going on with Trump. And, he says he's not backing down. He says he's not quitting. And, the man is very, very strong mentally, strong emotionally. And, just keep praying for him. Keep praying for President Trump so he can become our 47th president. Because that's what America needs. It's 100% what America needs. So we're going to move to Oregon now. And in case you didn't hear that Oregon DMV, oh my gosh, mistakenly registered over 300 illegals. Well, that's what they say. I bet it's a hell of a lot more than that. And I have a developing story. I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but it does have to do with Oregon and voting. Oregon and voting, absolutely. And do I think that it was a mistake? Hell no. Do I think it was more than 300 citizens? No. Not at all. Because the Democrats will do everything to win. Anything and everything to win. And in so much so, I don't know if you heard, but it was over the weekend, or maybe it was Friday. I don't know exactly what day. I was at Roundup in Pendleton, and I saw the headline that the U.S. Postal Service Union endorsed Comrade Cackling Kamala. So you want to trust your ballot to the U.S. Postal Service? Anywhere in the U.S.? Hell no. No way. Not going to happen. So we all need to talk to our family, friends, and neighbors and say, never mail a ballot, vote, and put it in the drop box. And if you've got any questions, give them your phone number. Don't be afraid to give them your phone number. People, we need to be talking to people every day, everywhere we go, asking if they're registered, asking if they got their ballot in May. Um, so, that's what we have to do. And I'll tell you, I was talking with somebody this on Friday and Saturday, about something that David Darnell and I talked about often here. He talked about it a lot, but he and I talked about it here on Captive Audience, is that in order to change the outcome on our state, we have to register voters. It's going to take well over $1 million. We've got to register, let's say 150,000, 200,000 people to the Republican Party to actually affect the change. I wish our state party would get off their ass and do just that, but they're not. Sadly, they're not. But the counties can, and we all need to be doing it. So we're doing quite a bit here. We can always do more. You can do a lot more with money here in Umatilla County. So today I clearly want my, MAGA hat and my Stand for Freedom shirt because, yeah, I'm hot. I'm hot about what's going on and a lot of distractions that are going on in Oregon politics that are, instead of doing the real job, instead of helping get more people in Congress, like Monique Despain, Lori Chavez-Dorima. We're going to talk about her some more. So anyway, yeah, exactly, Marjorie. Marjorie says, and those Republicans that are registered need to vote. Well, this is it. We all have to talk to people and say, if you're confused, let me help you. To help you make sure that you turn a ballot in, because it's more than Trump. Yes, it's Trump, but Trump is not. I would be shocked if Trump wins Oregon. We're not a state in play, sadly. But we've got ballot measures that are awful, and we could actually pick up a congressional seat or two on the ballot, let alone the attorney general. So anyway, I'll go into that a little bit more later. But everybody needs to vote. And I'm still on that roll of talking about it because I just came off of 4 days at Roundup talking to voters, reaching voters, giving them our voter recommendation. That this is my master. It's on white paper. And the one that we hand out is on orange paper, or it's on paper that looks like this, and something bright. But people came up and said, hey, I didn't get a ballot. I didn't get a ballot in May. So what's wrong? And I said, well, let's just register you. We don't have to figure out what's wrong. Let's just get you re-registered. And maybe they were inactive, and some people had signature issues. And so, hey, got them re-registered. People that moved, people got married, all of those things. And we have to do this. We have to do this. So, we need to do all of us need to do everything we can. Carry voter registrations in your car. Make up your own voter recommendation. Don't wait for the party to do it. Make up your own. Especially if you're a PCP, say, you know what, this is why I endorse. Talk to people about the ballot measures and about the candidates, because, well, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I won't get on to that more. But so yeah, Oregon, did they screw up? Did DMV screw up on the whole voter registration thing? I don't know. I don't have all those answers. In fact, as I mentioned, I do have a story that I'm working on right now that has to do with some of that. And Representative Helfrich, who is the House Republican leader, Jeff Helfrich from Hood River, he released a statement after hundreds of non-citizens were discovered on the voter rolls. And the Republicans he says, quote, Republicans warned over and over and over that Oregon's election laws were too relaxed, and Democrats dismissed our concerns. Now hundreds of non-citizens were found on Oregon voter rolls, and the state can't say how many there are. This threat to election integrity is unacceptable, and the Secretary of State must immediately inform the legislature as to the full extent of this problem and what they're going to do to fix it. And that was a statement yesterday. And of course they're going, oh no, it's only 306. I say BS. Totally BS. And they say that they found this because they were looking into the error. They're looking into it. They found it apparently on Thursday that people were mistakenly registered, and they were notified by mail within 24 hours that they won't get a ballot. Well, let me tell you, they haven't even got their mail yet. And I say BS on that. It happened on Thursday. I guarantee you they didn't have a whole bunch of postcards mailed out. Well, maybe they did by Friday, but the mail is so slow, they haven't even got them yet. So people are wondering. And, did they get it? I don't know. So Representative Helfrich, good for him speaking out on that. But we need to do more. And Oregon's voter registration, DMV, frankly, shouldn't have a damn thing to do with voter registration. Neither should the Oregon Health Authority. Shouldn't have anything to do with it. People, it's because when you register at DMV, if you're not aware, you sign with your finger. When you get your ballot, you sign with a pin. It gets kicked out because its signature doesn't match. Then if you register with a party, you're going to get a card in the mail that says, sign this. This is the party you wanted to register for, and return it. And if you don't return it, you are put on the unaffiliated voter. That's why we have the most unaffiliated voter. They outnumber the Democrats and the Republicans. And that's a big issue here in Oregon. And yes, it's all by design to, I believe, disenfranchise voters. And now we have, was it Measure 117 coming on the ballot of ranked choice voting. This will be a disaster for Oregon. And I'm seeing ads on Facebook for 118, the 3% corporate tax. But where the hell is the push for 117 that the legislators gave us? The legislators gave us this. The Democrat legislators and some Republicans, because they can't do it all by themselves. Which ones? I don't know. I don't have time to look it up. That's what you people should do. You look it up. Let me know who it is. So, there's going to be some people that are going, oh, crap, I'm not going to get a ballot. I'm illegal. You better bring your stuff. But, I was talking to a gal on Saturday, and she said, when I had to go get my license and when I moved here, I had to provide that I was a citizen. I had to provide that I was a resident of Oregon, had to have a mailing address, had to have a bill in this state. So how the hell is that? Of course, to offer, even though Oregonians voted no for licenses to illegals, that illegals cannot get driver's licenses, the legislature overrode the will of the people once again. Our government, state and federal, is not working for us. They're working for the machine. I'll tell you, they're working for the machine. They're working to enrich themselves and the deep state. Some are very, very nice people, but they're still doing it. Doesn't matter how nice they are. And they need to be replaced. Simple as that. Simple as that. There's a story, I didn't know if any of you saw this, that came out the other day. So I'm going to post it here. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has said that in Pennsylvania, they overturned a lower court ruling reinstating the requirement for voters to date their mail-in ballot envelopes. So the Supreme Court rules to disqualify undated and misdated mail-in ballots. If it doesn't have a stamp on it from the post office, then your ballot's not going to count. And yet here in Oregon, I guarantee you that if the ballot doesn't have a postmark on it, they're still accepting it, even a week afterwards. They're allowed to come in the mail a week later with no proof it was mailed by Election Day. Zero proof. Put your ballot in a drop box. Vote early. Vote early so we don't have to chase your ballot. You know, the more that we free up resources to try to get other people that are not voting in. So, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did this. Hooray. Hooray. That's going to take a whole bunch of ballots out, people that, and it was a 4-3 ruling. And it's going to take, that's a good thing. It's making it lawful, quite frankly, on how ballots are counted. Because ours do not have, they're prepaid, the post office doesn't cancel that. They don't put a date on it. When we had stamps, you had a date on it. But although I saw envelopes that the stamp had not been canceled, but maybe they decided, you know what, I'll just go drop it in the drop box. That was before we could accept ballots for another week after Election Day. I tell you, I hope y'all want one day voting in person, national holiday. Hooray. I would love that. Everybody gets off of work. We all go vote. And we ought to have the dang tallies by the next day. Maybe not that night. I can understand that, especially in a presidential year. But by God, the next day. And nobody's hauling ballots across state lines like happened in 2020. Don't forget, that did happen. Well, this is an interesting story, I thought. A battle looms over using Oregon's farmland, for semiconductor research. And this was actually published yesterday. And it's the Hillsborough Technology Cluster is next door to Washington County farmland. And the governor plans to bring more land into the city limits to make way for a major semiconductor research center, but hasn't said how much or where. With Oregon's land use laws, it makes it very difficult to expand the urban growth boundary of cities. And the governor just did that, actually, allowed some cities to expand their urban growth boundaries. And this is more of that. I'm all for business, but quite frankly, I'm not all for eating up farmland. But Oregon is rich in farmland. but we also have land that's not. And, you know, they're burning the forest down, so we don't have to worry about logging them. So the Biden administration could decide, there you go, and it's going to be worth billions of dollars. This would be worth billions of dollars to Oregon. The Biden administration, it says, could decide as soon as this fall whether to site a major semiconductor research center in Oregon, a hub that could bring federal investment approaching $1 billion and make the region a focus of advanced computer research for generations to come. And so, of course, who's behind it is Intel, largest employer, one of them in Oregon, and Senator Ron Wyden, and our governor. And but there's battle lines being drawn over, wait a minute, the rural land near Hillsboro, for example. And, so business versus rural versus farmland. And, then you have a state that they want it to go absolutely green. They don't have the power. If you notice at these data centers, which I'm sure all data centers have, gigantic generators for when the power goes out. And we don't generate enough power as it is, especially if you're going to have electric vehicles, which I'm happy to say, I read a report. They're selling for like 10 cents on the dollar. They're in the gutter. Maybe not Teslas, but all the major auto manufacturers has said, forget it. We're reversing course on electric vehicles. If you want them, you make them. They didn't say that. I said that, but they should have said that. And so, but once we lose farmland is what produces food. Okay. You don't just go to the grocery store and it magically appears. The farmland produces food from a farmer who's growing it, that we can eat it. They ship it to the grocery store. There's no cows at the grocery store where you get your milk. None whatsoever. There's no chickens where you get your eggs at the grocery store. The eggs are there from a chicken farm. So we have to have farms. We have to have farmland, and we're not making more of it. Okay. We have to have it. And so maybe that should be sited in an area that is not farmland. I'm all for business, but pick the siting. That might not be the best place. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Well, Umatilla County, that's where I live, in Umatilla County. It establishes a human trafficking task force. And it's consisting of 4 people. Community members work with state to connect services for trafficking survivors. And this was formed after they had held an information session, I'll spit it out, at the Confederated Tribes of Umatilla Indian Reservation. They had hosted a session. And so after that, this task force is actually only one of 14 that covers 21 of Oregon's 36 counties. And I think we, having some resources for that, I believe it's all happening here, definitely. Not a bad thing to have. I don't know. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know. So earlier I mentioned Measure 118 and 117. Well, 117 is ranked choice voting, and I'm not seeing hardly any pushback on that. And yet on Measure 118 is major pushback. Oregon Catalyst is pushing on it back, the grocery stores, Costco, and that is on the 3% corporate tax. Well, the 3% corporate tax this article here, I have to tell you, it gets your attention because the headline, and it's from the Oregon Catalyst, says that every rapist, wife beater, and car thief to get a check from Measure 118. Oh, it's free money. It's not free money. It's our money. It's 3% corporate tax that's going to drive up the cost of everything. Every ID thief, anybody, whether in prison or not, would get this so-called rebate check if it passes. They want people in jail to be able to vote. Do you think they should? I don't think they should. You're in jail, you're in prison, you revoke that right. When you get out, that's a whole nother story. But while incarcerated, I say no. And in this article, it says that every rapist, murderer, felon, child molester, wife beater, ID thief, car thief, gang leader, meth kingpin, and tax cheat who is in prison in Oregon will get a rebate if Measure 118 passes. And Measure 118 is a near $2 billion tax and uses the proceeds to give every resident a rebate check. It says a free rebate check, but believe me, there is no free lunch, which includes every Oregon prisoner and anybody who has been in Oregon for more than 200 days. Kind of like how you got your federal COVID stimulus check. And the idea that we are raising taxes on businesses and taking existing revenue out of the general fund, schools, public safety, forest management to reward virtually every violent felon in Oregon is ridiculous, reckless, and immoral. Stop the cash dump on Oregon's prisons. No on Measure 118. So that is the article. I've just now read you the entire thing from Oregon Cat. I found it in Oregon Cat by Taxpayer Association of Oregon, Oregon Watchdog, and Oregon Catalyst. Those are like the three branches. And Measure 118 is awful. Thank God the governor opposes it. She is against it. But I'm not hearing anybody talk about 117. And I've certainly been educating people. And this over at Roundup, and the people that we're calling and talking to, Umatilla County voters, Republicans, we're educating them. And, so it takes a lot of talking. You can't just go, well, people will figure it out. No, we have to help them figure it out. Because people, I hate to say, there's, even some people I talked to over this past week at Roundup said, I'm lazy. I'm a lazy voter. And I hand them this and I go, here's the cheat sheet. Just use this right here. Vote early, drop it in a drop box. Don't mail it. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. They love having a little cheat sheet, voter recommendation. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you posting about 117 after the program. It is about public awareness of what the hell is on the ballot. And those are the two worst ones. I think we should vote yes to impeach the elected state executives, but that's my opinion. We don't have a way to remove a statewide person. We have no way except a ballot initiative that's never happened yet. We got close the second time, but we had a crook Michael Cross, who was the person who thwarted both of those efforts to recall Kate Brown, both of them. He filed also another petition to remove Kate Brown. So people didn't know, caused confusion. The guy is an operative. He's an operative. And, and he did his job and he did it effectively. People didn't know if I signed this one or I signed that one. But we came damn close the second time. I'll tell you, Bill Courier built quite a team and a little software to help us figure it out if somebody had signed. Anyway, so that's why I support that. It would take a heavy lift, 2/3 of the House and the Senate to impeach a statewide office holder. And sometimes you need that. It's we had Kitzhaber who stepped down, but no, Bill still lives here. He still lives here. He's still the mayor over there. And so here is one. We talk about different green things around here on Captive Audience. All of us do. And this story that I'm going to post in here is a link to DEQ wants your input. And DEQ wants your input. And it is about the proposed climate protection program, rulemaking. So they are encouraging comments. And if they only hear from the other side, that's all they hear. Do I think it'll help? I hope it helps. They've got an agenda, so no. You have until Friday at 4 p.m., the comment deadline. DEQ will only consider comments on the proposed rules received by 4 p.m. Friday, September 27th. So while I don't have a lot of confidence, at the same time, if they never hear from a common sense person, then we just got all the other side that wants to impose more restrictions on us. That's what I wrote. We need less government. We don't need more. We don't need DEQ rules. That's an unelected bureaucracy. Bureaucrats, unelected, unaccountable. Nobody's holding them accountable. Not the governor, but the court did. The court said, no, what you're doing, and they're doing this because the Oregon Court of Appeals invalidated the Environmental Quality Commission's 2021 rules establishing the Oregon Climate Protection Program. So now they're working to redo that. They have to have public comments. They have to have a public comment period. Submit something. It won't hurt. And who knows, it might help. There is another story. There's I had no idea about this. And that, we have talked on Captive Audience over the years about the awful foster care system here in the state of Oregon. I don't know if you all remember when the foster care had they were putting kids out of state. Oregon children that were in Oregon's foster care system and putting them out of state. They put them in hotels because they don't have enough places to put them. And so this story, it was by NBC. It's KOBI5.com. Says Oregon foster care kids testify over issue in the state's system after a lawsuit. And so this story was a couple days ago, and a federal judge got to hear on last Thursday, directly from children in Oregon's foster care system who spoke about what they think needs to be done to fix ongoing issues. And young people either testified in person or submitted letters to the judge, Judge Ann Aiken in Eugene, who's overseeing the settlement of a class action lawsuit filed on behalf of Oregon's foster children. And that suit, concluded in May, resulted in the Department of Human Services agreeing to work with a neutral expert to straighten out its child welfare division. So here you had kids in the system that was getting to have their voice heard. I think that is wonderful. And I really do, to have the kids that were talking about what they experienced, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't know if they heard about the good. I'm sure they heard about the bad and the ugly of it, though. And so this lawsuit had been filed in 2019. Emily Cooper is the legal director for Disability Rights Oregon, the group that filed the lawsuit, and in 2019. And she told KGW News that Thursday's testimony is crucial for the final settlement. It's a real check on our power and on the court's power to say, hey, wait, young people, this is really good, and they need to hear from the kids. Some of these children, it caused them trauma by shuffling them through motels, psychiatric facilities, mismatched foster homes. I don't know what that means. And in some cases, children suffered abuse by foster parents. Horribly, I'm sure. And that's awful. I can't even fathom that somebody would want to hurt a child. But there are people out there like that. Sadly, there are people out there like that. So I just kind of wanted to bring that one a little bit to your attention. So Lori Chavez DeRemer, she voted to protect timberland from the Chinese Communist Party. If you hadn't heard about this, and she sponsored a bill as well, because earlier this year she raised concerns to the Biden-Harris administration after a report surfaced that we talked about here on Captive Audience, that an individual with previous ties to the CCP owns 198,000 acres of forest land near Bend. That accounts for nearly half of all the Chinese-owned land in the United States. And so she helped secure provisions to improve the tracking of foreign-owned land. And, and that's good. We need people fighting for us, not just sitting there doing nothing. I'm going to tell you another good news piece is Elon Musk. He scored another win for free speech. And this headline is, and another scalp for Elon Musk. This is from PJ Media. And I'll get this posted here. And so thankfully he has got, Elon Musk is doing good. He's doing so well. So he had the European Thierry Breton, the European Union commissioner who tried to bully Elon Musk into banishing free speech from Twitter and X, has resigned in shame from his post today, and liberty lovers everywhere should rejoice. And, so there we are. This is today. And Breton, who truly deserves a spot on this long dormant blog, quit in an open letter where he accused the European Union European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen of plotting against him. And so, Musk pushed back. He caved. She supported him, Musk, and going, no. And you know why? Because the European Union doesn't make any of these things. They don't make cell phones. They don't make satellites and send the satellites up. These communications, that he has. No. So they pushed back and they said, no, 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 you've got to go because they're not innovators, So anyway, kudos. And I win for free speech. Thank you very much, Elon Musk. Another good story here is Sweden is considering paying immigrants big money to leave the country. Imagine that. Imagine that. People getting sick and tired of the illegal immigrants. We had several years ago, these people had to leave, the Middle East and resettle. Well, it's a big migration, the big great replacement that there are people that have no will to ever integrate into your society, be it the UK, the United States, Sweden, France. They want their own area in their own language and their own customs, and preferably even like in France, they're going, we want Sharia law. We want Sharia law. So the Scandinavian country was for decades seen as a humanitarian superpower, but over the years has struggled to integrate many of its newcomers. Immigrants who voluntarily return to their country of origin from 2026 will be eligible to receive up to 350,000 Swedish kroner, which is $34,000. The government, which is propped up by the anti-immigration Sweden Democrats, told a press conference. And immigrants under the current grant program, which has been in place for 40 years, immigrants can receive $10,000, which is like less than $1,000 per adult, and less than $500 per child, with a ceiling of just shy of $4,000. Okay, by being there. And so they're very generous of helping people. And when the Ukraine war started, I'm not saying that the Ukrainians went to Sweden, but there have been wars that have displaced people. But financial displacement, I'm going to go to this country, mass migration, because they want to come here for a better way of life. That is not what amnesty is about at all. And it's been turned into a great replacement of other nations. So kudos to them. I hope it happens. And my last good news story is, Taylor Swift, right after the debate, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris, Comrade Cackling Kamala, and it may have very well backfired big time. I'm so glad. More and more I'm seeing on social media, people are going, oh no, I don't want your opinion. I don't need your opinion. So anyway, I think it's great. She does have a lot of followers and that, but so does Trump. He's quite the rock star. That's why they're trying to take him out. Well, now we've come full circle because that's just where I started. So we need less government. Let's make America great again and stand for freedom. We have to stand for freedom. We have to fight for it. And nobody's coming to rescue us. It's us that is going to make the difference by speaking out and fighting. So thank you very, very much. And oh, Carol, I'm reading what you said. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry, your granddaughter. Oh, I'm so sorry about your granddaughter there. That is horrific. I don't wish that on anybody. And our foster system in Oregon is broken. Our election system is severely jeopardized. Like and share everywhere and on X. Everybody have a great night, and I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm filling in for Kevin, so you're going to see me all week. He filled in for me while I was doing Roundup. It was great. You know what? We had good weather. People from all over the world were there. Australia, New Zealand, England, and all over America, of course. People from all over. Wyoming, Arizona, Florida, Washington, of course, a lot from Washington, Idaho, Texas, a lot of Texas. It was fun, fun to see America, the rural or the conservative America, predominantly, not all, but predominantly. And so many people thanked us for having our booth at the Roundup in the Dairy Queen parking lot. They just said, thank you. This is what it takes. And you know what? That is what it takes. It takes us being out there. And this is the last big push. I say the last big push because this election is so important to reach people, educate them on what's on the ballot. It's no joke. There's so many people that they don't look at the voter pamphlet. We have to reach out and find out if they're elected, if or not elected, but if they're registered to vote, excuse me, and help to give them your phone number. Say, hey, if you have any questions, give me a call. Don't be afraid to do that. We've got to do everything that we can to reach people, to help people turn their ballot in. Don't mail it.